Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean Ebert, and I'm the Interim Chair for AML3D Limited. I'll be chairing the second annual general meeting of AML3D today. Given the ongoing health concerns attributed to COVID-19 pandemic, and in addition to the guidelines and restrictions issued by the Australian state and federal governments, we're holding this AGM as a virtual meeting in a manner that is consistent with current legislation. As it is now 10:30 a.m. and the Company Secretary has confirmed that a quorum is present, I now declare the meeting open. I can confirm that the meeting has been properly constituted. Firstly, I would like to address the announcement made yesterday concerning the resignation of two directors from the board, Stephen Gerlach and Kevin Reid. The board thanks both Stephen and Kevin for their significant contributions to AML3D since and prior to the company's initial ASX listing. Subsequent to these board changes, the board has met and elected me as interim chair of the board. I would now like to introduce the board of AML present here today. I'm joined by Andrew Sales, Managing Director, and Len Pirro, Non-Executive Director. We're also joined by Company Secretary, Christine Manuel. Also present is Matthew King, representing our auditor, William Buck. Before we review the 2021 financial year and commence the formal proceedings, I will outline the agenda for this morning. Apart from the virtual nature of the AGM, our approach will be as per normal AGMs. I will begin with a brief overview address, which will be followed by the Managing Director's address. After these addresses, we will proceed to the formal business and the resolutions to be considered by shareholders at today's AGM. As announced yesterday, Resolution 2 relating to the re-election of Stephen Gerlach has been withdrawn as it is no longer relevant. Today's meeting will be held online via the Lumi platform. On behalf of the board, I welcome all shareholders, proxies and guests who are attending the meeting virtually. All attendees can watch via a live website through the webcast. In addition, shareholders and proxies have the ability to ask questions and submit votes. Questions from shareholders can be submitted at any time during today's meeting. To ask a question, press on the speech bubble icon. This will open a new screen. At the bottom of that screen, there is a section for you to type your question. Once you've finished typing, please press the arrow symbol to send. It is helpful if you indicate at the beginning of your question the number of the agenda item to which your question relates. Please note that whilst you can submit written questions from now on, I will not address them until the relevant time in the meeting. Also note that your questions may be moderated, or if there are multiple questions on one topic, amalgamated together. For those shareholders that wish to ask verbal questions, an audio questions facility is available during the meeting. To use this service, please pause the broadcast on the Lumi platform and then click on the link under Asking Audio Questions. A new screen page will open where you will be prompted to enter your name and the topic of your question before being connected. You will listen to the meeting, staying on the screen page, while waiting to ask your question. If you have any issues using this system, please return to the Lumi platform. During the formal business of the meeting, I will invite questions and comments in relation to each item of business, and as far as possible, questions will be dealt with during the relevant item. If time permits, I will provide further opportunity at the end of the meeting, before I close the poll, to respond to any remaining questions. Otherwise, we will answer these in due course by email. I've arranged for the Company Secretary to act as moderator for shareholder questions during the meeting, and they will be handed over to her at the appropriate time. Proxy votes have been received from 82 members, representing 45,704,212 shares, which is 30.38% of the company's voting shares. The proxy vote will be displayed on the screen for the information of members before discussing of each resolution and before putting the resolution to a vote. Voting today will be conducted by way of a poll on all items of business. In order to provide you with enough time to vote, I will shortly open voting for all resolutions. At that time, if you are eligible to vote at this meeting, a new poll icon will appear. Selecting this icon will bring up a list of resolutions and present you with voting options. To cast your vote, simply press one of the options. There is no need to press submit or the enter button, as the vote is automatically recorded. You do, however, have the ability to change your vote up to the time I declare voting closed. I now declare voting open on all items of business. The polling icon will soon appear. Please submit your votes at any time. I will provide ample notice prior to the closing of votes. Shareholders are reminded that your board strongly recommends that you vote for all resolutions. I appoint Mr. Nigel Bulling of Computershare Investor Services to be the returning officer and to conduct the poll. Before I start my address, I think it would be remiss of me not to mention the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the impact it continues to have on our business. We've been really lucky here in South Australia in that we've had minimal lockdowns. With international and domestic borders closed to most jurisdictions throughout last year, Aml3D was heavily restricted in its ability to get potential customers to our facility to demonstrate our capabilities. We are, however, very thankful that we have not recorded any cases internally, with a number of measures adopted, such as staff working from home, regular testing, and strict enforcement of social distancing in the workplace. So we very much look forward to the opening of borders, which will allow us to get back to the normal course of business and pursue our aggressive growth strategy. Now that I've provided some context to the challenging year that was, I will begin with a recap of the AML3D strategic planning process and outcomes. Our goal at AML3D is to become a leading, diversified, large-scale 3D metal printing company by commercialising our proprietary WAM process. For those that have not seen this acronym before, WAM stands for Wire Additive Manufacturing, a process which builds objects via sequential layering of metal. The WAM process combines welding science, robotics, metallurgy, and software to produce automated wire-fed 3D printing in large free-form environment. The strategic planning process has provided AML and its staff with a clear understanding of what we are as a company and where it is we want to go. Our vision is simple but to the point. We utilise technology to pioneer and lead metal additive manufacturing globally. We believe our technology is unique and will continue to differentiate ourselves from our competitors and to drive new business moving forward, not only here in Australia, but in our target markets abroad. Our mission is twofold. We partner with our clients to enable them to become globally competitive, and we do this by helping them establish Industry 4.0 capability through our additive manufacturing solutions using IoT. We're already delivering on this mission. We've partnered with a number of customers to improve their capability with our arcing units. These units and the technology that drives them help to showcase our offering to a broader audience and market of end users, including for those customers that are looking for high quality 3D printed products. However, it is our values that will shape our organisation and ensure that we have the right culture to deliver on our strategic objectives. These have been identified as integrity, collaborative, can-do, team-focused, and creative. They are simple and self-explanatory, but equally important in forging of a successful business that will deliver what we expect will be market-beating shareholder returns over time. Many of you will be familiar with this slide. However, it is always worth reinforcing the 4 key business streams that drive AML3D. Three of these streams are key to driving revenue. They are contract manufacturing, Agm unit sales, and WAMSoft licensing, with the fourth stream, research and technology, arguably the most important stream that will keep AML3D ahead of its competition. We anticipate that contract manufacturing, which is mainly the customised production of specialised parts, will be an ongoing, stable source of revenue that will comfortably fund the underlying business. Agm sales are the sales of Agm units to external third parties. Last year we sold 1 unit, with a further 4 now on pre-order. We anticipate this revenue stream could be our largest moving forward. From these Agm sales, we will generate annual service fees for training, software updates and provision of AML3D staff, as well as ongoing maintenance of Agm units to ensure the continual improvement is applied to the welding technology. And finally, research and technology. While not delivering revenue, research and technology is the key business stream that will keep us ahead of our competition as we look to continue our delivery of superior manufactured products to the market. It is pleasing to see that for an early stage technology company such as ours, we continue to build revenue momentum as we grow our customer base. Revenue from our last financial year was $644,000, which is an increase of 123% on FY20. This revenue has continued in the first quarter of FY22, with revenue up 79% on the first quarter of last year. Based on the state of prototype testing with key customers, COVID restrictions being eased, and purchase orders for further Agm unit sales in place, we expect revenue growth in FY22 to further improve on what was achieved last year. This slide focuses on key milestones that need to be satisfied before material long-term contracts are signed, and shows that securing these contracts can and do take time. Obviously, not all our customer requirements and needs are the same. However, we estimate that it will take at least 6 months and up to 2 years until long-term recurring contract revenues for printing of bespoke parts with key customers is executed. Having said that, we are well along the road with some of our key customers participating on this journey. Most of these milestones are self-explanatory. One of the main things I want to get across is that once we've engaged a customer, we drive the majority of the process up until the contract stage. We've delivered a number of prototypes that have been tested and proven as superior to traditional forging and casting, as well as those manufactured by powder additive technology. However, with the proof in testing confirmed, it is then the customer that drives the execution of long-term contracts. We are certainly pushing very hard to get to this stage, and I'm pleased to say that we are extremely close on a number of these. While we are not using COVID-19 as an excuse, the restrictions placed on our business as a result of the pandemic has eliminated our ability to meet customers face-to-face outside of South Australia. Therefore, it goes without saying that we're very much looking forward to the state and international borders opening back up again. The size of the market for additive manufacturing in the years to come is massive. The market size is estimated at US $10 billion and expected to grow to US $35 billion by 2024. With our reputation growing in the market and our customer pipeline building, I firmly believe that we are perfectly placed to expand our business once the world gets comfortable with living with COVID-19. We only need a small slice of this exponential growing additive manufacturing market to grow our market cap materially. And this growth will be underpinned by our patents we now have in place in most of our key markets, our technology constantly evolving and improving, and the excellent internal capability that has been built with our management team, technical and marketing teams. When we look at AML3D against our peer group, there is an obvious delta between the enterprise value and the amount of customer receipts being generated. AML3D is performing at a much higher level in terms of customer receipts, yet this is not reflected in the current share price. Our growth in revenue is expected to grow materially over the coming years. The revenue is expected from all of our key revenue streams, with our key focus on locking in long-term product contracts with our key customers. This, coupled with constant evolution of our technology, makes for a compelling investment opportunity. So we now have all the key ingredients in place for success. We've had some changes to our management team, particularly with the appointment of Hamish McEwen as our CFO, and further strengthening of our senior management team is under consideration. We have proven that our Agm units and the specialised printed products they manufacture are stronger and better than those of traditional casting and forging, and it is a much greener alternative solution. Our ability to innovate, to stay ahead of our competitors, is seriously best in class, and with an outstanding culture focused on teamwork and inclusiveness, we are well positioned to start delivering sustainable shareholder returns. Before I hand over to Andrew, I would like to thank my fellow board members, including Stephen Gerlach and Kevin Reid, for the wide-ranging skills and expertise they have brought to AML3D, and their support and input throughout this very challenging year. To have navigated our way through challenges of COVID-19, a great deal of recognition must be given to our management team and staff, who have demonstrated real resilience and dedication to the business over this trying period. Much thanks to all. Finally, to you, the shareholders, thank you for investing in AML3D. Your board and management will continue to push the company aggressively towards securing multiple recurring revenue streams and ultimately shareholder returns that I am confident will outperform the market. I will now hand over to Andrew, who will talk in greater detail about some of the achievements and milestones from last year and why we are well positioned for a strong 2022 and beyond. Sorry, I might refer to our company secretary for one moment now.
Thank you, Chairman. Shareholders, I note there has been a comment from one person at least watching, saying that they are having difficulty reading the detail in the slides. That is related to individuals' internet quality, but I will just comment that those slides will be available on the AML3D website, on the investor page of the website, for your reference afterwards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Krista.
Thank you, Sean, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Sean has mentioned, the last financial year was certainly a challenging one, with COVID-19 restrictions impacting our ability to get out and meet with customers and prospective customers. However, we are now seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and for AML3D, that light is shining very brightly. The outlook for AML3D is an exciting one. Myself and the team are extremely excited with what is ahead, especially as we continue to grow our customer base across all target sectors and build a strong pipeline of well-regarded quality customers. So why is AML3D a compelling investment proposition? Well, firstly, AML3D has already proven the quality and industry-leading verification of a number of bespoke metal printed parts. That is, we have started our journey of disrupting the traditional large forging, billet machining and casting metal industry with our proprietary WAM technology. Wire additive manufacturing, or WAM, builds objects via sequential layering of molten metal delivered via a 3D digital interface, not dissimilar to current 3D printers. The wire feedstock is melted through an electric arc plasma, which forms precisely layered beads sequentially to produce high specification metal components. Our WAM technology is globally certified under Lloyd's register qualification, has produced DNV verified components, as well as having ISO 9001 certification. I'm very proud of the fact that we have also been granted our WAM process patent in a number of countries, and this includes Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Singapore, and with the EU and North America expected early next year. This patent for our core technology, along with our quality accreditations and product certifications, are our license to operate and provide customers with the certainty and assurance that our technology has been independently verified, assessed, and approved for use, as well as protected against those looking to try and replicate it. The WAM process is undertaken by our proprietary Alchemy printing modules, which we plan to distribute globally to service customers anywhere in the world. We're now working with a number of well-respected organisations such as Boeing, BAE Systems, Keppel, ThyssenKrupp, ST Engineering, Additive Now, Lightforce, ICAD, and Rowlands Metalworks amongst them all. All of these customers sit well within our target sectors, which was one of the early strategic goals that we set ourselves. It's pleasing to see such a strong set of customers over these sectors. However, we're continually working on looking for opportunities in new sectors. One such new sector opportunity is the space technology, which we're actually really excited about, and I'll expand that on in a little while. Traditional fabrication processes require significant infrastructure footprint, high levels of raw material and energy inputs with high carbon footprints, and takes more time and labour than our WAM technology. Traditional methods of casting, billet machining and forging have served the industry well for hundreds of years. However, today's society is rightfully demanding that businesses operate with much smaller environmental footprints, along with a strong focus on sovereign capabilities. AML3D's WAM technology allows us to make bespoke components for customers, which are stronger than traditional cast, billet or forged parts, cheaper, manufactured in much faster timeframes and more environmentally friendly, plus being very suitable process for sovereign capability. It is for these reasons that I firmly believe that our WAM technology and Alchemy modules will ultimately be viewed as a driver of the fourth industrial revolution. However, we never rest on our achievements. We'll continue to invest in R&D activities to refine and broaden our range of products, such as the application of new wire feedstock alloys and exotic materials for the WAM process. As Sean mentioned earlier, investing in R&D will continually improve our product offering, and we are seeing that with our market-leading alloy combinations that deliver better products than our competition. Our WAM technology has significant advantages over typical subtractive and powder additive approaches for metal manufacturing. The typical subtractive approach is the old casting, forging and billet machining methods. Our WAM technology is up to 30% stronger, 75% faster to produce, and is able to deliver up to 70% cost saving through less weight in our end products that are made with 80% less waste, and able to be logistically delivered to clients with minimal transport needs. When compared with powder additive processes, WAM is able to offer a larger range of metal alloys while also delivering stronger and a denser product. To date, Alchemy units have been delivered to engineering and manufacturing firms both in Singapore and Australia. The recent Rowlands Metalworks Archemy order demonstrates AML's ability to produce and deliver specialised Archemy units. We are seeing strong demand for in-house manufacturing capabilities, with customers preferring our Archemy units due to their flexibility, high deposition rates and reduced downtime, all of which deliver a better end product at a lower cost. What is also encouraging is the significant growth that our target markets of marine, aerospace, defence, mining, energy and renewables are currently experiencing. So we only see increased demand for our units moving forward. We've been building a strong aerospace production pipeline with excellent relationships growing with key aerospace companies. We recently announced the production of a specialised WAM 3D printed part to a leading North American aerospace manufacturing company. This part is a bespoke prototype that will be made of a high-strength nickel alloy. AML3D was sought out by this company because of our ability to 3D print not just specialised parts, but parts that are made of unique alloys that have demonstrated their strength through rigorous testing to date. We look really forward to this component being independently tested so that we can move expeditiously to long-term contracting for the manufacture of these parts for space exploration. One of our main partners in the development of a new high-strength aluminium-scandium wire feedstock for WAM is Deakin University's Institute for Frontier Materials. This is one of a number of really exciting collaboration programs which we are involved in. New alloys such as this are a clear demonstration of AML3D's technological capability and will provide a clear competitive advantage for AML3D and our customers going forward. Factory of the Future, which is based at the Tonsley Innovation Hub, is an exciting collaboration with BAE Systems and Flinders University's Research and Development Facility. The program being undertaken is a joint research program that will investigate the corrosion resistance properties of various WAM metals for applications in submerged marine environments. Results so far have demonstrated suitability for WAM components in the marine environments and will have significant applications for offshore oil and gas facilities, plus also be useful for offshore wind farm components. We are currently working on the next generation hybrid printing Archemy units, which has demonstrated speeds 5 times faster than the existing Archemy units, which, by the way, are currently much faster than anything else out there on the market. Much of this speed is driven by twin wire technology, which has increased the deposition rates up to 30 kilograms per hour for larger scale components. Future hybrid Archemy units will also combine WAM printing with a surface finishing process to produce machine finished components rather than a two-step operation, which will significantly reduce production times even further. In collaboration with CSIRO, we are still working on our elaborate and new material strength prediction software application for WAMsoft, which is expected to be ready around mid-2022. This software will be unique amongst our peers and provide key information on the strength of finished products before they are printed, which can help to minimise the amount of test work required on high-strength parts. It is always hard to estimate when a long-term contract will be signed for manufacture of a part for a major customer. This slide attempts to provide a guide as to when that may be for a few selected customers. It is important to reinforce that these are estimates and they could take less or more time to eventuate. However, we are well advanced with prototype testing for several customers and are hopeful that the execution of material contracts will not be too far off. What I can confirm is that we are working tirelessly to build our customer base in all our target sectors. and we're producing state-of-the-art prototypes that are market-leading. The market for additive manufacturing is absolutely huge, and we know that we will be capturing market share as we continue growth in this market. So we have plenty to look forward to as we come out of our COVID restrictions, in particular the following key aspects: growing our manufacturing capabilities in new overseas jurisdictions, in line with the model that we have successfully delivered here in South Australia. Pursuing global business opportunities, focusing on customer and industry partnerships in high-margin industries. Expanding our contract manufacturing base to drive long-term repeat orders. Building current and next-generation Alchemy modules for customers looking to establish in-house printing capability. Growing recurring revenue via software, annual software licensing, service and maintenance agreements, and sale of bespoke alloy wire feedstock. And lastly, continuing our R&D activities to refine and broaden our range of products, such as the applications of new alloys and exotic metals in the WAM process. These core strategies are absolutely key to our strategic plans for the coming 12 to 18 months, and I'm immensely excited about the year ahead. So in closing, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome all the new additions to the team. We've seen a number of changes on this front, and I'm pleased to say that the new members of the team have integrated seamlessly and are already having a positive impact on the business. I would like to thank all our shareholders, many of whom have been with us since listing, for their support through this challenging year. I hope that Sean and I have provided comfort that there is plenty of upcoming catalysts ahead that we believe will be reflected in an improved AML3D share price soon. I would like to thank our board for their support and expertise over this past year. It really has been a pleasure being the MD of AML3D, and I look forward to what the future has in store for us here at the company. On that note, I'll hand back to Sean to commence the formal part of the AGM.
Thank you, Andrew. I now turn to the formal business of the meeting. The notice of meeting, including the explanatory memorandum, was made available to all shareholders from the 18th of October 2021, and I propose to take it as read. A copy is available on the AML3D website. The notice of meeting provides details of the motions to be put to this meeting, and I will give shareholders the opportunity to ask questions and comment on each of the motions. The minutes of the 2020 AGM were approved by the board and signed by the chairman. These minutes are tabled and copies are available on request from the company secretary. A reminder, if you are eligible to vote at this meeting, please select the voting icon to bring up a list of resolutions and present you with voting options. To cast your vote, simply select one of the options. There is no need to press a submit or enter button, as the vote is automatically recorded. You can change your vote at any time until the time I declare voting closed. The first item of business is to receive, consider and discuss the company's financial statements and the report of the directors and auditor for the year ended 30 June 2021. A copy of the 2021 annual report is available on the AML3D website. We're not required to adopt these documents formally by way of a resolution by shareholders. However, I would be pleased to take comments or questions from shareholders on this item. This is also an opportunity for shareholders to ask questions about the business, including any matters dealt with in the Managing Director Andrew Sales' presentation or my address today. AML3D's auditor, Mr. Matthew King of William Buck, is present also and is available to answer questions where appropriate. If a shareholder wishes to ask a question or to make a comment, please use the speech bubble icon, which will open a new screen. At the bottom of that screen, there is a section for you to type your question or comment. Once you have finished typing, please press the arrow symbol to send. To ask a verbal question, please pause the broadcast on the Lumi platform and then click on the link under Asking Audio Questions. A new screen page will open where you will be prompted to enter your name and the topic of your question before being connected. You will listen to the meeting from this screen page while waiting to ask your question. If you have any issues using the system, please return to the Lumi platform. As I am unable to accept questions and comments which are not relevant to this discussion, if a question is raised or comment is made on a point not connected with the financial statements or the matters dealt with in the addresses or the items of business, I will have the Managing Director or his senior managers attend to the matter after the meeting as appropriate. I will now pause for a moment to allow for any questions to be submitted. I ask the Company Secretary, Christine Manuel, to read out any questions we have received or to introduce any shareholders wishing to ask verbal questions.
Thank you, Chairman. There are some questions, written questions received before the meeting and also some questions coming in online now. The first question is from Mr. Adamson, a shareholder, who asks, has the submarine affair affected AL3's future?
Well, the submarine affair hasn't, fortunately, affected AML's future, largely because we weren't participating in that early stage contract. However, the opportunity to participate in what may come out of the new alliance is very exciting to us. The one thing I will also add to your question, which may be helpful, is the company has taken a very deliberate approach to diversify its markets that it operates in, which is the reason why we operate across defence, aerospace, general manufacturing, oil and gas and mining. And it was for that very reason, not to be reliant on one sector or one customer in particular.
Chairman, another question also from Mr. Adamson. Why has the share price dropped so much?
Well, naturally, we're not going to shy away from that, and we too are not seeing the share price where we would have hoped it to be. The one thing I'll say before I answer that question is the company is in a very strong financial, operational, and customer position, and that's from myself and from the board's perspective. To address your question, I can address it in two parts, really. The first part is we had a very successful and well-supported capital raise early in the year. And then following that, we obviously had a very large shareholder, and when I say large shareholder, relative to the size of our company, look to sell down their shareholding. Naturally, when an investor that large sells down into the market, it does tend to soak up all of the buys that are on the market at the time. So naturally, it will have a downward pressure on the share price. The second thing is, our second point is, look, while we've been focused, as you can see in the recent announcements, very heavily on the Alchemy sales, the business has been focused on producing a number of prototype projects for a range of customers for our contract manufacturing. And what I can say is that we're very, very close. I know it's taken a while, but we're very close to some really great news coming out from some of those clients.
Chairman, another question from Damien Bias, who says, I and my SMSF are shareholders in AML3D. I note the announcement today, this was received yesterday, this question, of the resignation of 2 directors one day before the AGM, which is not a good look. One is the chairman. The announcement gives no reason why these 2 directors chose to resign, especially given the intent up until today was for Mr. Gerlach to be standing for re-election. Please provide clarity on this turn of events.
Okay. Firstly, I won't be commenting or expanding on the timing or the reasons for the resignation. But what I will do is I will clearly say that Stephen Gerlach's contribution and substantial contribution to AML over the course of its journey, right across governance and also the corporate development of this company, has been well thanked and well received by the company and really appreciated. And equally, Kevin Reid, his substantial contribution to this business across finance and commercial, as well as being the head of audit through the development phase of this business, has been well received and incredibly well thanked. So on behalf of myself and the board, we thank both Stephen and Kevin for their time with AML3D. We also wish them really well in the future. And what I will say is that early in the new calendar year, we will be initiating a process to look at the board structure moving forward.
Chairman, a question from Stephen Rogers. Can you provide detail of progress made by Mr. Paul Raj in Singapore? We've not seen a lot of news regarding progress made on that front compared to Australian operations.
Well, what I can say around Singapore is that our relationship in Singapore, firstly with ST Engineering, has progressed extremely well. We've relocated and located the machine in Singapore. It's been in operation with ST Engineering, and we've secured an additional project on the back of that project with ST Engineering. One of the things that we have experienced in Singapore is some headwinds with COVID-19 and the restrictions that happen in Singapore, as you can naturally expect. But what I'm happy to say is that we've had a number of clients, notwithstanding the COVID restrictions, come and see the facility that we have at ST Engineering, and that has been an incredibly positive news for us because we can sense and see the demand in that local region for AML's technology.
Chairman, another question from Stephen Rogers. Can you provide any more detail as to the significance of the recent defence purchase order and space exploration announcement? What should we expect in terms of revenue or prospects of future revenue from these customers?
Right. Well, first of all, it is an extremely exciting opportunity for AML3D. So we are very excited about securing that entry into aerospace and the defence market in particular. We are in a position, however, where we are not able to disclose the name of the client due to confidentiality reasons, as we said in our market release. And we are in the very early stages of the prototyping phase of those parts for both those clients. But we do look forward to the outcome and potentially future business having been successful with this prototyping phase with those customers.
Chairman, there are no further questions at this time.
Thank you. The notice of meeting also invited shareholders to submit questions to the auditor in relation to the audit or accounting policies. No written questions for the auditor have been received. We will now proceed to the ordinary business of the meeting. As Resolution 2 has been withdrawn, we will move directly to Resolution 3, the Remuneration Report. A resolution for adoption of the Remuneration Report is required to be considered and voted on in accordance with Section 250R of the Corporations Act. The Remuneration Report is set out in the 2021 Annual Report. It details the company's remuneration framework and the remuneration outcomes in the 2020-2021 financial year for key management personnel, including directors and senior executives. The shareholder vote on the Remuneration Report is advisory only and does not bind the directors or the company in accordance with the Corporations Act. However, the board will take the outcome of the vote into consideration when reviewing the remuneration practices and policies of the company. The board recommends that shareholders vote in favour of adopting the Remuneration Report. Voting exclusion apply for this resolution, but these were outlined in the notice of meeting. I now move that the Remuneration Report for the year ended 30 June 2021 be adopted. Details of the valid proxy votes received in respect to this resolution are now shown on the screen. Does any shareholder wish to make comment or ask any question on the proposed resolution? I will now pause for a moment to allow any questions to be submitted. I will now ask the Company Secretary to read out any questions we have received or to introduce any shareholders wishing to ask a verbal question.
Chairman, no questions have been received.
I will now put the motion to a vote as an ordinary resolution. You are invited to lodge your vote for Resolution 3 by using the polling icon. I now move to the special business of the meeting. This final item of business is item 4, the approval of an additional 10% placement capacity. Broadly speaking, ASX Listing Rule 7.1 limits the amount of equity securities that a listed company can issue without approval of its shareholders for any 12-month period to 15% of the fully paid ordinary securities it has on issue at the start of that period. Under ASX Listing Rule 7.1, a company can seek approval from its shareholders to increase this 15% limit by an extra 10% to a total of 25%. The company wishes to retain as much flexibility as possible to be able to issue equity securities for cash consideration in the coming 12 months if required. This may be for funds for various activities deemed by the board to be in the best interests of the company. Further explanatory information on the resolutions was included in the notice of meeting. The board recommends that shareholders vote in favour of approving the 10% placement capacity. I now move Resolution 4 as shown on the screen. Details of valid proxy votes received in respect to this resolution are now shown on the screen. Does any shareholder wish to make comment or ask any question on the proposed resolution? I will now pause for a moment to allow any questions to be submitted. I will now ask the Company Secretary to read out any questions we have received.
Chairman, no questions on this item.
I will now put the motion to a vote as a special resolution. Please lodge your vote for Resolution 4 by using the polling icon and selecting one of the options. That concludes all the resolutions to be voted. Shortly, I will be closing the voting system. Please ensure that you've cast your vote on both resolutions. I remind you that you have the ability to change your vote until the time that I declare the voting closed. Shareholders are reminded that your board recommends that you vote for all resolutions. While you are finalising your votes, I will call for any final questions or comments from any items of business. I will now ask the Company Secretary to read out any additional questions we have received or to introduce any shareholders who have indicated they wish to ask further questions verbally.
Chairman, there are no further questions received at this stage.
I will now pause for 1 minute to allow you time to finalise your votes. I declare the poll closed and formally charge Mr. Nigel Bulling of Computershare as Returning Officer to count the votes. After the votes have been counted, the results of today's poll will be released to ASX and displayed on the company's website. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the business of this annual general meeting, and I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you for your attendance and for your support of AML3D.